So good evening, everyone. Today is a very special day here at UPAEP, since we're receiving a special visit from the International Baccalaureate. They're coming here from Bethesda, which is near Washington, D.C. in the United States. And we're receiving here, we have Mr. Paul Campbell. Could you introduce yourself?
Hello, everybody. My name is Paul Campbell, and I work for the International Baccalaureate Organization. I have for 30 years, and I live right outside of Washington, D.C. I'm married to a archaeologist, and my daughter just finished the IB at a local high school.
Thank you very much, Paul. And we're also joined here by Mrs. Jennifer Baker. Could you introduce yourself?
Hi, my name is Jennifer Baker. I am an authorization manager with the IB, so I support schools that are interested in offering the diploma program and the career-related program. And I've worked with the IB for about 7 years, and I live in Arlington, Virginia.
And we're also here joined by Dr. Yvonne Montalban, who should be translating. So, Yvonne, could you introduce yourself?
Muchas gracias, soy Ivonne Montodón. Estoy aquí tratando de pasar a español los puntos centrales de la entrevista.
Okay, and I'm Etienne, and I'm the IB coordinator of the whole UPAEP high school systems. And so, as I said, we're really glad to have you guys here. How does the IB sees the development of the programs here in Latin America? Paul?
I think that Mexico in particular has been kind of a shining star in the IB world. And it's not a story that gets told often enough, because Mexico probably has as many schools as the United Kingdom, which gets talked about all the time, and certainly is in the top 10. And then when you drill down, to what's really going on in Mexico, it's hard to ignore the extraordinary things that are happening right here at UPAEP, which we can talk more about. I don't need to go into details, but the number of Prepas here that are all committed to the IB and the plans for the future are very exciting. We also have schools in Costa Rica, in Colombia, Peru, Venezuela, Argentina, Uruguay, Chile. Probably Ecuador has the most schools in Latin America, because their former president had the idea of putting it in 200 of the public schools. So, we're still dealing with that, working with that. And so it's a combination of public and private. But again, I would say UPAEP is extraordinary within the Latin American universe of the IB.
Bueno, sí, es mucho. Aun cuando México tiene el mismo número de escuelas que el Reino Unido, la proyección que tiene para Latinoamérica es mucho más importante. Y en particular la UPAEP, con el número de bachilleratos que tiene como bachillerato internacional, todas estas prepas, pues son un astro luminoso en el horizonte latinoamericano. También nos cuentas que en Ecuador es donde más prepas se abrieron con el IB, por la iniciativa de Correa de hacer bachilleratos públicos IB, ¿no? Sin embargo, la importancia que tiene México y el sistema UPAEP de prepas para Latinoamérica es muy importante.
And so, Jennifer, as Paul said, we have 10 high schools which are recognized by the IB. Is it easy for a school to be recognized as an IB school? What would you say?
I think it's challenging. I think most schools have to go through a rather long process, somewhere from 1 year to 3 years, just depending on the background of the school. But it's a pretty extensive process. We have to go through a lot of checks to become an IB World School to ensure that the schools are prepared to implement programs to a high quality, to really ensure that you're supporting your students.
Okay. De las 10 prepas que tiene la UPAEP, le pregunta Etienne a Jennifer cómo es este proceso para la certificación de los colegios en el IB. Y ella le comenta que es un proceso largo, extensivo, exigente, porque se tiene que garantizar que todas las escuelas cumplan con los criterios establecidos por el bachillerato internacional.
We've been working with the IB since 2010 when we began in Santiago, and we've come a long way. How does the IB see this progression that we've had over the years, Paul?
If you have to look at the 5,000 schools that are in 150 plus countries around the world, and look at the university systems of different countries, Mexico is different in that there are many universities that sponsor their own high schools, prepas, UDEM, and Tec de Monterrey and Puebla. But within that context, Puebla's doing something unusual in that they have become so convinced that the IB is the best way to educate these students at Prepas, either through our diploma program or our newer career-related program, that they're essentially in the midst of a process of making all 10 of those schools IB schools, and all the students that will go through those schools will choose one of those two programs. There's no place else in the world that's doing it to that extent. It's exciting. It's particularly exciting for us because we need examples of strong career-related programs. And I think UPAEP is going to shine in that particular area.
De la forma como ha avanzado el progreso en las prepas, que ahora tenemos ya 10, Etienne le pregunta a Paul cómo ha visto este avance. Y él nos dice que es algo que no se había visto antes, aun cuando hay algunos bachilleratos que están trabajando con sus universidades, como el TEC de Monterrey o la UDEM, para hacer estos programas IB en las prepas. Sin embargo, aquí tenemos todas las prepas de la UPAEP en los dos programas de diploma y el POP, o de orientación profesional, y es algo que no se había visto antes, ¿no? Eso para el IB es un motivo de entusiasmo, ¿no? Y de emoción seguir este proceso.
Okay, so Jennifer, how's the work been in the IB in Bethesda regarding the growth of the CP? It's something that you guys were expecting, or you've been surprised by the growth of this new program?
Wow, that's a good question. I think that everyone at the IB is very excited about the POP, the CP. I don't know that it was expected that it would grow to the level it did in Mexico, and specifically with UPAEP. I think we've been happily surprised at how much it's grown, how fast it's grown, and I think also how sophisticated UPAEP has designed their programs.
And just some weeks ago, you guys told us that we were the school number 200, which was Tehuacan, and it was a big surprise. Paul, what can you tell us? What does it represent like for UPAEP to be the school number 200 for the IBCP?
Well, you had a pretty good odds in your favor. There's 200 schools worldwide, and 10 of them are in UPAEP, so you already...
You have the
but I
balance.
think it's particularly interesting is Tehuacan. ¿Cómo se dice?
Tehuacan.
Tehuacan, because of where the school is, and it's part of the UPAEP system, but it's not like it's right down the street. UPAEP has a much broader mission than just the Santiago neighborhood, and I think that we try to recognize that. I remember when we recognized the 4,000th school, it was a school in a remote part of Texas that served mostly kids who spoke Spanish at home. And so the message is that these programs, if they're well done, can be implemented in all types of schools and serve all types of students. I think the most exciting thing for UPAEP, I was thinking about this when I was listening to Jennifer, is if those students then come to the university, you have better prepared students. And the university likes that. And so they say good things about IB, and more families are coming to the Prepas to do the IB programs. I think particularly the future of the career-related program is bright here because of the way in which it's being implemented.
Me salté una pregunta.
Sí, no te preocupes. La primera pregunta, Jennifer, era de cómo si el crecimiento del POP era el esperado en las oficinas de Washington, y no, fue un poco sorprendente, ¿no? Sobre todo que lo adoptáramos en Puebla y en las prepas UPAEP de esa manera para las 10 colegios. Y después nos fuimos sobre esta noticia maravillosa que la prepa Tehuacán es la prepa número 200 que tiene el POP, ¿no? Entonces, con una institución que está implementando un programa adecuadamente, se puede favorecer a estudiantes en todos lados, ¿no? Y además también que esta relación con la universidad va más allá de nada más la preparación del estudiante en su escuela, sino que permea hacia la comunidad, no solamente de la UPAEP en Puebla, sino en el estado y en el estado de Tlaxcala, donde también estamos.
parte de Texas, me parece que también vale la pena rescatarla, como que el colegio número 4000 del diploma, o sea, era un colegio pequeño en Texas, ¿no? Que atendía principalmente como migrantes. Esto nos da como la idea de que no cualquier colegio requiere mucho trabajo, pero no tienes que ser como el super colegio en la gran ciudad para poder implementar correctamente estos programas. Ahí requiere mucho compromiso, mucho trabajo, pero al final no es algo como que sea para estudiantes súper dotados o algo, o estudiantes particularmente especiales. So here in UPAEP, we really like the CP. We really trust what you guys done, and that's why we decided to implement it here in our high schools. But what would you say to parents regarding the CP? Not the CP in UPAEP, the CP in general as a program. What makes it special?
There's three things that get me particularly excited. This program has only been widely available for 5 or 6 years, after several years of being piloted in different places around the world. And the first thing is that preparing for a career while still getting ready for college allows students to pursue their passion. It makes school more relevant and interesting for them. And they might even be able to take IB diploma courses like business management or design technology that are related to their particular passion. Students that know what they want to do or have a good idea should be working on those skills and that knowledge while still in high school. And this allows that to happen at a very high level. The second thing is that the core of the program requires students to develop language skills because that's obviously an essential part of the international baccalaureate. It requires them to develop personal professional skills, how they present themselves, understanding differences, communicating across cultures, literally, from PowerPoint presentations to much more sophisticated conversations. And it also requires them to take on a reflective project around an ethical issue, which I think is very different than even our other programs, demanding that students confront the ethical issues in their chosen field. And then the final thing, and maybe the centerpiece, is the service learning aspect of it. We have service in all 4 of our programs. It's an essential part of the IB mission, but I think that the CP has a much more interesting take on it. It's much deeper, more sophisticated, more connected to the curriculum. So you have those 4 things put together. If I was a parent and I had access to the Prepas, I take that back. I am a parent. Now, my daughter did DP courses at a high school outside of Washington, D.C. She would have been much better served by doing the CP, particularly if they had things like photography or digital imaging or something related to music where she had specific interests. Unfortunately, they didn't. But for the families that are coming to the Prepas, they have that option.
Gracias. En relación con el programa de orientación profesional, le pregunta Etienne a Paul cuáles son las ventajas que le puede dar a los padres, ¿no? Que es hablando con los padres de familia, y menciona 3. Uno es la preparación profesional para la vida profesional durante el tiempo que están haciendo la carrera y antes de ir a la universidad. La segunda es el desarrollo personal profesional con estas habilidades de pues más relacionadas con un desarrollo integral de la persona y de lo que puede hacer. Y una tercera es concepto de aprendizaje en servicio, ¿no? De estar sirviendo a la hora que aprendes, que es algo muy interesante, que además está muy bien casado con las líneas de la UPAEP. Nos comenta también sobre una hija que tiene, que estuvo en una escuela del IB, a las afueras de Washington, que pudo cursar dentro del IB el programa del diploma, pero ahora ve que si hubiera tenido la posibilidad de haber cursado el programa de orientación profesional, posiblemente hubiera sido mucho más sencillo su paso por la universidad y la formación de su carrera ya en su vida profesional.
Okay, so the next one is a tricky question. I don't know if you're allowed to answer, but would you rather have DP or CP, Jennifer?
Oh, wow. That is a tricky question. I think it's a very personal question, and I think both programs are great, and they fit different learners with different needs. Personally, I think I would have enjoyed the CP a bit better. I think a lot of times in high school we like to think about what we want to do, but it's not always real at that point in time. And So with the CP, it's not only relevant, as Paul mentioned, but it's real because you're thinking about and working with pathways that will guide you towards certain careers later on in college and afterwards. So to me, that would be the benefit and probably the program I would go with.
Would you ask me that question in Spanish, and I'll give you my answer in Spanish.
¿Cuál de los dos programas del IB preferirías? ¿El programa de diploma o el de orientación profesional?
Sí.
Sí. Los dos, claro. Cada uno, como dijo Jennifer, funcionan con diferente tipo de alumnos.
No puede decir. No.
Sí.
No comment.
Funcionan con diferente tipo de alumnos.
Sí.
Sin embargo, ahora este descubrimiento de lo que puedes hacer antes de entrar a la universidad o en una prepa universitaria, desde luego vuelve la experiencia también más disfrutable, ¿no? Además.
And what is the IB seeing in the future, Paul, and in the near future regarding the growth of the programs in general, from the PYP all the way up to the CP?
Well, there's something that's inevitable that at a certain point in time, there will be more primary years programs than diploma programs because there's more elementary schools or primary schools than there is high schools. And we're quickly approaching that. And the middle years program, which is in many ways the most complex programs, because it oftentimes, it's during adolescence, so it's complicated, and it oftentimes is delivered in more than one building, is also growing very quickly. Diploma kind of very steadily, I would say. But there's a lot of schools that have basically made that choice, and so the CP, I think, has more potential going forward. So while there's only 200 schools right now, and maybe there's 2,500 diploma schools, I think within 5 to 10 years, there'll be many more primary schools than there will be diploma schools, and there'll be a much smaller gap between the diploma program and the career-related program.
En cuanto al crecimiento en general de los programas que ofrece el IB, Paul ve que va a crecer más desde luego el programa de educación primaria por el número de escuelas primarias que hay, seguido del de años intermedios también por la población, y que aunque el programa de diploma está creciendo a un ritmo que será continuo,
sí,
constante, el programa ahora de orientación profesional pues ha crecido un poco más rápido y se espera que pronto el diploma y el POP tengan más o menos el mismo número, ¿no?
And what would you say, Paul, makes the IB special? I mean, why should a parent look at an IB school? What makes those kids different?
It just depends on how much time you have, but I'll try to be brief. All the schools that offer IB programs have met international standards. Universally, they've gone through a very challenging process of meeting certain practices, certain standards, training their teachers, making a commitment from the administration, from the community, involvement. So wherever you go, if the IB flag is flying outside of the school, you can trust the quality of the education inside that school. That's the most basic thing. But from a philosophical standpoint, I think it's much more important that students are, learning second languages, being exposed to different cultures. Our goal is to develop critical, compassionate citizens in a complex world. And we sustain that through all our programs. And I think that that's something that you can feel good about if you're a parent. You're not just prepared to do well at university, but you're prepared to take on challenges in life from a variety of perspectives. You have skills, but you also have habits of mind and you have habits of heart.
En cuanto a la razón por la cual elegir una escuela IB, pues nos dice que además de lo obvio, ¿no?, que es una organización que hace pasar a sus escuelas por un filtro realmente exigente, que garantiza que tengan una calidad, que capacita a sus profesores continuamente, también da estas habilidades adicionales a los alumnos para desarrollarse no solo en sus estudios posteriores, sino en la vida.
I would like to keep going on what you said, Paul, because, I think now more than ever, IB schools are really relevant in a time where Like it seems like we're going back in time when we're building walls again instead of building bridges. So I think like having kids in IB schools is like the way of moving forward with this intercultural understanding, with all of these ideas of like it's not just me. I don't have to just be a good student. I need to be a good person. And I think that's something that we really like at UPAEP, and that's why our philosophies like match together. And that's why when we began with the IB, it wasn't a hard process. But regarding the philosophy, well, everything matched together. We just had to adapt some names and concepts, but at the end, we're both looking for the same thing, like to transform society, to make this a better place.
Para nosotros en la UPAEP, en este tiempo en que es más importante construir puentes que muros, nos hemos dado cuenta de la afinidad que tiene la filosofía de la UPAEP con lo que ofrece el IB. Y eso nos permite no solamente formar mejores profesionistas, sino mejores personas que transformen la sociedad y que hagan de este mundo un mundo mejor.
What would you say, Jennifer, that you just have 2 minutes, like to students, potential students that would go into an IB school?
Wow. You're full of a lot of good questions today, Etienne. I think there are exciting new opportunities, whether it's with the diploma program or the career-related program. I think they both offer a very open-minded and internationally minded education. And I think one of the interesting things, I think students at UPAEP have a certain profile that you guys look for. And I think, as you mentioned, it matches very well with the IB learner profile. And so I think it's really the best of both worlds. You get a great UPAEP education and you have a great international baccalaureate education.
Uh-huh. Sí, y para los estudiantes, desde luego, el tener esta posibilidad multicultural y bilingüe o trilingüe, también los apoya mucho, les permite ser mejores personas y pues tener el diploma del IB o el POP del IB al mismo tiempo que la filosofía de la UPAEP resulta en una experiencia muy enriquecedora.
Well, Paul, Jennifer, thank you very much for being here. We're really glad that you accepted this interview and that you come here to visit us. It's something really special for UPAEP, so thank you very much. You're at home. You're an eagle, right, Paul?
Soy UPAEP.
Hey, exactly. You got it.